Art, something that's been around for generations. All the beautiful colors, designs, and cinematic ideas each piece holds. But I'm not talking about any regular art today. I'm talking about furry art, or quite specifically, fursonas. Fursonas, something every furry has. Fursonas are the way for furries to represent themselves in the biggest part of the fandom. Each fursona is original, with eye-gazing colors, and the millions of species you can choose from. It's really hard to decide what should make up your fursona. So how do I obtain one that I both enjoy and is original? I know this topic has been touched by many, many other furry YouTubers, but I've decided to do my take on it. As unoriginal as this topic may be, I feel like a lot of people may need tips and help on making fursonas, as well as every furry YouTuber having to touch this topic at least once. Now, let's talk about this topic, shall we? To the den we go. To know what a fursona is, you'd have to understand what a furry is. And so we're heading to Wikipedia. As stated from Wikipedia, the furry fandom is a subculture interested in anthropomorphic animal characters. Example of anthropomorphic characters attributes including exhibiting human intelligence, facial expressions, speaking, walking on two legs, and wearing clothes. So, in summary, a furry is a person who has an interest in anthro characters. So, examples of these anthro characters are Robin from Robin Hood, Judy Hopps, and Nick Wilde from Zootopia. And heck, I think even Scar from The Lion King could be considered a furry. Being anthro characters are animals with human characteristics like walking on two legs, wearing clothes, and speaking like a human. Furries take a huge interest in these characters and make their own anthro characters to cosplay as and have art as and represent them. So, as many people might want to know, what is a fursona? And this quite commonly can be referred to as a character that is used to help express or represent someone or something emotionally, physically, etc. Now, I know not all fursonas are representations and can quite literally just be a character someone owns, but usually fursonas show you, in a sense, being how you wish to be or how you view yourself as a whole. Fursonas can have many forms, from being a regular dog to a giant robot dinosaur. And that is all in between. There's no limit to your fursona or how many fursonas you own. The sky's the limit with these things anyway. So that all comes to the question. How do I obtain one of these characters? Well, there's lots of ways of obtaining these lovable characters. Some people buy adoptals, which is you just buying an already made fursona, which could be nice, but it can come with a lot of rules and less creativity, or you could make one, but that hits a different road block. How do I make a fursona? Well, I'll tell you a few generally good ways to start the process of making these lovable characters. So, where do you start with making your own fursona? Well, you gotta start with the basic theme. What species should this character be? Well, there's multiple ways to decide. You could do a fun little spirit animal quiz, being both incredibly fun to goof around with and easy to find. It's one of those more simple tactics on deciding a species. You could also choose your favorite animal. One of the easiest ways to decide a species. You'd think my favorite animal is what my fursona is. But my favorite animal is a chicken. Perfect for pets. But my fursona is a dog, or more specifically, a Doberman Pinscher. So why is my fursona not my favorite animal? Well, it's no surprise people change their favorite animal quite often due to the fact of them changing as a person and their tastes changing. So, it's often hard to make that your fursona. But that's not stopping anyone. Another idea could be you making your pet into a fursona if you have one. Taking the pet species and using that as a reference for your fursona species is a great way to make a fursona, and honestly a good story on how you made it too. I took inspiration from my pet ferret, Charlie, and made my ferret fursona, Quintel. Honestly, having a real animal in front of you could really help you make the perfect fursona. You could also choose an already made species like a protogen or manokit, or heck, even a circle if you wanted to. Finding open species and making a fursona out of it is a really great way to open up to more creativity and let more non-realistic features come to the sonas. I personally love airplane dragons for the fact they are adorable. I even made my own species called neoids. Go check them out. If none of this seems to your taste, you could always go to Google and search up things like unique animals or weird animals or animals in general. Heck, you could even look up fursona species on Google. as well as searching up for unique fursona species on YouTube. There's a wide range of ways of finding the perfect fursona species, and there's no right or wrong way of doing it, except for stealing closed fursona species. Do not do that, like ever. Just don't. It's really bad. So you chose the perfect fursona species. Let's just say you chose something as simple as a cat or dog. What's next? How do I find the perfect colors and make the design? Well, this is one, and if not, the hardest stage of the fursona making process, or OC making in general. What type of fur will this animal have? Or scales? What color will the fursona use? What's the design? Well, honestly, this is difficult for the matter of everyone has different tastes in style, colors, and designs. So it's hard to get your perfect color palette and design on the first try, but it's not impossible. Honestly, you just gotta test colors and see what you like more. Now, retrieving those colors are another step. There's many ways to receive color palettes for these fursonas. You could look up color palettes on Google or Pinterest, though those are very used often, so I would not recommend that unless you want more of a common color scheme that everybody has. Those apps have some decent color palettes, though. You could also make the fursona have the color palette of the animal you chose. Simple, yet effective, like my OC Schiller, for example. He has all mute color scheme of black and brown. Him being a Doberman Pinscher, he holds the natural color scheme of those dogs and his breed. His simple style is pretty basic but nice to look at. Or you could try a more complex method, one I don't recommend unless you understand the basic use of this technique and have used it before. You could use the color wheel and use the range of multiple techniques this complex method has to offer, like the great analog color scheme or the tetratic scheme. Heck, even the split complementary scheme is nice too. I honestly use the color wheel for a lot of my designs and colors, and it turns out quite nice. I wouldn't recommend it for beginners. You could always find a few colors you like and put them together as well, though. Not always the best combination sometimes, but can work out. Or you could use background colors, examples being taking a picture with colors that work extremely well together and use those colors in your design. Honestly, a good basic method for those who want to more well thought out colors. Now you have your range of colors for your fursona. How do I obtain my design? There's a lot of ways to find a good design, and a lot of things that can inspire those designs. You could always look up designs and take inspiration from those on YouTube or Google. Or you could just doodle. Designs say a lot about your character. A neater design could mean this soda has a more clean and neat personality, while more messy, wild designs could mean a more exotic personality. A lot of things should be taken accountable when making a design. Do you want the design to be more clean to represent the basic animal, or do you want it to be messy and loud? Let's take my fursona Kylo, for example. He's a red blood hyena. His design is more wild and sharp to complement his jockey personality. He's a jerk and a party animal, and his design complements his wild style very well. There's dozens of different design choices for each character, from sharp, jagged stripes to messy splotches, with millions of choices of what to add to your special character. You can take inspiration from anything at all. A cool jacket, a beautiful design from a poster, a cute dog. There's so many things that can inspire you for a design. But no, inspiration is not the same as stealing. A cool jagged design on someone else's character is fine to take inspiration on and add to your character, but upright stealing that design from the character is not right. Please, when designing a beautiful fursona to call your own, don't steal a character or a character's design. Taking the inspiration from that character is fine and encouraged, but stealing is not the same as inspiration and not right, and it's not really right to steal anyone's design. So please refrain from stealing designs and instead take as much inspiration as needed from people's designs that you enjoy. So you've designed the perfect fursona, having every detail you love. Now what? How do I name this character and what's its personality going to be? Honestly, there really isn't a right or wrong way to do this. So let's start with the name process. There's so many ways you could do the creative name process. You could take your pet's name and use that. You could use a name generator and generate the name. You could ask people online even. There's so many ways of creating names that I can't even touch all the processes. Personally, I like to think of random names and just go through them to see what fits best. Heck, you might even just punch a bunch of letters together and call it a day. Going through baby names and pet names is even a good idea on finding the perfect one. Schiller's name came from me listing off words that sounded like the word killer. Honestly, I can't touch every way to find a name, and I'm not going to. Names will come to you if you wait. My fursona Crypto, for example. He was nameless for almost 2 months before I finally decided his name. So there is no rush of getting every detail of your fursona finished in a day. Personality is honestly the easiest part of the fursona making process in my opinion, as most of the time I usually just make my sona's personality based on their designs, or the way I want to represent myself. Honestly, there really isn't a detailed way of determining how you want this character to come off as. Is it a jock with a pushy personality, or is it a quiet, nervous bean? There is no right or wrong way of personality choice, and it's totally up to you how they are formed as. I thought I'd share my story on how I made my main fursona Schiller, and let my friends share a few stories on their designs and how they created their fursonas as well. Schiller was created for a book series called Warrior Cats, or at least my OC for that series. His original design was based off of the dogs who brutally attacked a cat in the first arc of that series. Honestly, I was recommended the Doberman Pinscher breed by an old friend of mine online. Eventually, after looking at many photos of the breed, I took it upon myself to make that breed into my own character for roleplays. He was just a regular Doberman, as the book characters' designs were all realistic and openly normal. He was originally supposed to have a pet mantis, but the idea was scrapped altogether. His design is pretty simple and as basic as a Doberman Pinscher is. His red crimson spike collar complements the aggressive, powerful breed he is, as well as his eye color being inspired by Amber. The crown I use for him is more of a represent the leadership and overall praise and respect he's gained over the years. His name, Schiller, as you guys know, came from me listing off the words killer, as most Dobermans are seen as strong and powerful breeds. I used the word killer and came up with the name Schiller, and over the years, Schiller stuck as his name. Now, without further ado, let my friends talk about their fursonas and tell their stories and how they created their own OCs. Take it away, Paint Paw.
We'll be talking about how I made my fursona, Star. I made Star when I was just getting into the Warriors books. The first book I ever read was The Fourth Apprentice, which I really liked Dovewing, which gave me the idea to make Star a female. Then I read A Dangerous Path, which I loved Brightheart. So I made Star backstory based on her life with the dogs. I quickly grew into the Warrior Cat fandom, and I started reading the other books. Then Hawkfrost. Hawkfrost is my favorite Warrior Cat, and I decided to make Star a male. Then I went to go tell one of my friends how I made this little cat. Then he said, it's gonna be weird if you have a cat fursona and it's male while you're female. So I took that and I changed her to a female. So a lot of back and forths. I got her colors based on my favorite colors, which when I was like a young age it was baby blue. Now it's orange. So that's where Star got her colors. And she got her design on a Bright Guardian Akira video, which was the worst Warrior Cat OCs. And I saw this white one, a lot of colors, really polka dotted one. And there was a star on them. So I grabbed that star idea and put it on Star. And you already have her layout. Right there. And I gave her the purple eyes, because purple. Why not? And yeah, that's like all how I made Star. So yeah.
So hello. Sorry about my hands. So probably the title or something to be like, how did I get my main fursona? Because if you've been seeing my channel, you know about Kraz. This boy that I just finished and cleaned up actually. So he looks good. But you're like, how did you get him? He's not like a cat or a dog. Even though I basically call him a dog sometimes. But but since I didn't really want, a cat or a dog in the first place, because that's what usually people, in the fandom, that's how they usually pick their first one. My real first one wasn't Kraz until later, until I decided to make like actual costumes, and then I came up with this idea. See, so I sticked with the horns. I wanted something, like I said before, I just wanted something to not be a cat or a dog. So I just went with a monster, I guess. It's just right in the between. Just a little crazy monster. That's what how he got his name, because I wanted to be a little crazy. Yeah, so he literally started out with a 9 personality. I didn't love him at all. I just completely, that hurts. That hurts a lot to say. But I just made him up just so I can make him later on. And here, here we are. My most favorite baby. He's my lock screen, my home screen. He's everything. So this boy over here, I stick to. So yeah. And then also he represents my Azima on my arms and stuff. So that's why you can see he got little chunks. And also it just makes sense because he's like a zombie monster as I put in. And that's how he represents that's how he represents the Azima. So yeah, that's really it. At this point I love him so much.
My fursona's name is Hearts. She is a cat dragon hybrid, but she wasn't always like this. Hearts originated whenever I played Animal Jam in about 2019, and my character on the game was a pink coyote with purple hearts and a light purple belly. Animal Jam was actually how I discovered the furry fandom, which I discovered in about 2020. I wanted to make her my fursona, but I decided to significantly simplify the design and make the colors slightly different to ones that better fit my personality. So then I create the first version of Hearts. The fun fact is, Hearts was initially a coyote to represent my Animal Jam character. But she didn't stay a coyote for very long, though, as I didn't feel like a coyote represented me. So I changed her fursona species to a house cat. Fast forward a couple of years, I meet my boyfriend. And as I learn more about myself, she changed into a cat dragon, but she can also shapeshift into any other form she chooses. But her main and true form will always be a cat dragon hybrid.
So basically here we are talking about my fursona, Willy Swiftclaw, and Red Emergency. So pretty much, basically running down talking about fursonas, of how I came up with the fursonas. I kind of basically examined my hobbies, what I like to do, plus did a little bit of research into animals and that. Plus, so when I basically to start off with picking characters, actually picking my personas, I first started out with what kind of animal I was my favorite animal and then I did a little bit of research in terms of the animals, and then pretty much after that it went into, okay, well, what kind of personality do I want to give them? So I wrote down I thought about my hobbies, what I like to do for fun, and that. In terms of what kind of characteristics I would want to pull that I share a connection with. So for Willy Swiftclaw, pretty much I looked at my creative hobbies, like my creative writing, and pretty much my creative styles and hobbies that I did, and kind of figured, well, might as well wanted to make Willy more of a creative personality on that. Since I also love mystery, I kind of figured go with more of a detective suitability for Willy and that. Hence why I kind of designed him with having a trench coat, because it kind of pulls from a little bit of mystery detective playing role, while still kind of giving that creativity into him and that. And on the other hand, we have Red Emergency, who is my blue, red, and yellow wolf, tiger hybrid, as the three stripes on the tail is. For him, I kind of looked at my more of a team playing role, and then kind of looked at the characteristics of being part of a team and that. So he's like the kind of like the safety aspect of what I do and that. So it really comes down to between the both of them of looking at thinking of types of characteristics that would suit them both, based off my hobbies and what I like to do and that, and also kind of getting ideas by doing some research in that. So hopefully y'all find that this little video helps, comes with talking about personas and kind of finding personas and that. For me, like to sum up, I would start off with what type of animal I would best represent me, and then I would go into my looking at my hobbies, and the characteristics, if you want to put a personality with them, and then kind of think about like what kind of personalities you want to put with them. And that for Willie, it was creative side of it. For Red Emergency, it was more of safety, teamworking kind of characteristics that I put to him. But both of them overall, I kind of share common characteristics of support, caring, and that, because between the two of them, even though one's creative and one's more of a team worker, they both like to support each other and support everybody around them, and that provide them with good wisdom and that. So, folks, that would do it for me, Positive Tiger Gamer. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this.
So Nate actually originated from around my second year of middle school, and he wasn't even a protogen to begin with. He was drawn up by my friend, who was a furry as well, and his original species was a lynx. So yeah, I tweaked his design a little bit until it matched my liking, and then I learned about protogens. And in the end, there was a massive overhaul, and we got the design that I use now. And then I found out my sexuality, so the color palette kind of changed a bit. But besides that, that is the origin of Nate the Protogen.
I want to thank all of you who submitted things for this video. I would have not got this video off the ground and into YouTube's algorithm if you guys had not sent me these things. Thank you all for the endless support you have shown to me. I want to show all the amazing fursonas and fursuits that have inspired me so much and helped me make this video possible for you guys. Please go and check out all the fantastic and amazing people's channels who have supported me in this video. I will have all the channels in the description. Thank you to the people watching this video as well. Without you, I wouldn't have posted this video in the first place. With viewers like you, I can make a dream of mine come true. Please, if you have not, like this video and subscribe to help me move forward as a channel. Thank you. Goodbye, my little garden. See you next time on another Den episode.